Good morning, North High. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tryouts for the tennis team will be held on Thursday, March 1st and Friday, March 2nd at 3:50 p.m. Evaluation will be based on skills, fitness, teachability, tennis IQ, and overall effort. If you have any questions, please come see Coach Galvan in room 121. Go Hubs!
Are you ready to represent your school, make new friends, and be a part of a fun and rewarding sports experience? Join the Unified Track and Field team this spring. Unified Sports joins students with and without disabilities on the same team to train and compete together. See Coach Forsythe in the F-Wing, room 133, or Coach Toth in room 128 for paperwork and more information. Practice begins on Tuesday, March 6th.
There will be no Calc Club tutoring today after school.
There will be a mandatory meeting for all baseball prospects who plan to try out on Wednesday, February 28th at 3:30 p.m. in the cafeteria.
The Saga Club Sexuality and Gender Acceptance Club meets every Wednesday at 3:35 in room 125. All are welcome to come.
And now to Mike Smith for Talk About It Tuesday.
Bullying. We've all seen it. We've seen it happen at school, we've seen it happen at work, we've seen it happen online. We've all seen it. But what we don't see is the psychological effect that it has on people. We don't see the loss of self-esteem. We don't hear the suicidal thoughts that bounce around inside someone's head. We don't know what it feels like to avoid coming to school or avoid going to a certain place because you don't feel safe. We don't always see what happens to the victim when they go home.
I would have kids just constantly just judge me if it was about the shoes I would wear or how I would be dressed, how I would speak, and the people that I would hang out with.
So did you hate going to school?
I mean, it's like the worst feeling ever on getting up to go to a place for like 6-7 hours where you do not want to be there at all, and you're kind of forced to go.
What did it feel like when you got home? Like you'd get bullied at school and you went home. Like walk me through the feelings you had of just like what it felt like to be bullied.
I just felt like my voice wasn't heard by anyone. Like if I would speak up or try to say something, that it would immediately just get shut down. Sometimes I would start feeling like I wasn't worth it, you know? I would start just thinking to myself, am I really worth it? Do I really need to be here? And I just felt very alone at the moment.
What do you mean by that? Do I really need to be here?
Like, do I really need to be on this planet in general?
So it made you feel like committing suicide? Like it made you feel like killing yourself?
Yeah.
So did you ever think, like, did you ever talk to anybody about that?
I did talk to people about that, and because of them, I am here now.
Fortunately for Axel, he had someone to talk to, and he's still here. He even went on to start an anti-bullying club at his school called Hero, helping everyone respect others. In Axel's case, he was bullied face-to-face. But most of us, the bullying that we see or we encounter, it happens online. Whether it's watching someone favorite or like a post, send a subtweet, or watching a person flat out gossip and spread rumors. And if we're not the bully and we're not the victim, it's like the rest of us, we just sit back and enjoy the show.
A subtweet is just when somebody tweets something about someone but they don't use a name or an ad. Generally, I don't know who subtweets are about and I don't try to get involved with it. If it's not my business, it's not my business. And that's just, I read it, I kind of giggle, and I like keep scrolling.
So how many of you guys, like, just being super honest, like, you see it go down and you're just like, I'm here for the show. Like, I'm just gonna see where this goes and I'm not gonna say a word.
Usually when people subtweet people, it gets pretty serious, or like you get that moment where it's like, it's about to go down. Like,
right.
like it's about to get a little messy, but.
You ever subtweeted?
I might have on accident, but like.
When it's not about you, like it's not, the subtweet's not about you, you didn't send the subtweet, but like you see it and you're like, man, things are about to happen. Like, why do we just stand around and watch it? You know what I mean? Like, are we any better if are we not just the people watching the gladiators fight and kill each other and we're like, yeah, like that was tight. Like, are we any better for just standing and watching?
I feel like people do see it as entertainment, and also from me coming from a small town, we don't really have much for small talk or something to talk about. So that's kind of something to talk about. Like as soon as you get to school, you're like, oh, did you see that?
You have to go back to like basic human natures. Like you said, people used to watch the gladiators beat the crap out of each other just for entertainment. And if somebody sees this one tweet that's just gonna set the world off, they're gonna be like, ooh, it's human nature. We're gonna go right to this.
Well, has anybody in here had a negative thing said about them anywhere on the internet? Did you forget it?
No.
Can you remember who said it?
Yes.
Can you remember what the photo was that they said it on, or where the thing happened and where you were? Like we all, like those things don't typically tend to go away, right? Have you ever had anybody say something positive about you? Do we always remember those?
No.
Not as much, right? It's those like, the reason that I think what happens is somebody says something negative and we assume the entire world just saw, and since nobody came to my rescue, everybody must agree with that. And like now you feel like you're on an island by yourself and you kind of want to know where your friends are. So here's an interesting thought. Like when this whole bully conversation happens, like we realize like we're probably not, like if somebody's just gonna be mean, it's really hard to change that person, right? Like they're just gonna be mean, and that's kind of part of the equation. Somebody who gets picked on, made fun of, like whatever, subtweeted about, somebody talks trash, like now they're the victim and like there's that person. But most of us spend the vast majority of our life as just the bystander, right?
I don't think people understand that just because you're not the one saying it, or like you're the one tweeting it, like the people who like it, that's just as bad. Like you're still a bully, like you're not standing up for someone, or you're not trying to, like you know how it makes the person feel, so why don't you step in?
People always talk about how like there's the bully and the victim, and there's this conversation around like the bystander. And
Yeah.
If you don't do anything, does that make you guilty too?
Yeah, I think so. I think it definitely makes you guilty if you just sit there and watch and you know it's wrong.
Why do you think people feel the need to do things like that on Twitter? Like, why couldn't they have said that to your face? Like, why do they have to take it to Twitter?
Twitter is like an easier outlet, and it's a, like, you know, once you subtweet and like it's pretty clear who it's about, you know it's gonna get to them, and like you don't have to go through that effort of like approaching them. Everything's done behind the phone.
Do you feel like people do it because they want to feel powerful for a moment?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they saw it like as a way like to control me kind of thing, and control what people think about me, and I think people like having that control.
So what's your opinions on like social media, Twitter, and all those things now?
Like social media and stuff is good to an extent when you're using it for the right reasons, but not to like pour out your feelings.
Right. If there's a girl out there that's going through what you went through, and like kind of this like mean girls mentality, these girls picking on her, like what advice would you have for her?
It's not in you, it's in them. It's purely them. It could be jealousy, it could be a lot of things. It could be them being angry at their lives at home, them being angry that you have more friends, and there's nothing that's wrong with you. And like, just don't give them the power to do that. Just ignore them.
What you don't know about Gracie is that she lost her entire group of friends. She had to switch schools and basically start over. Because nobody stepped up to help her, it cost her an entire year of her high school experience. All it takes is for one person to step in. Of all the kids I've talked to across the country who have been bullied, they all wanted the same thing. Someone to talk to, someone to show them that they cared, someone to let them know that they're not alone. And that's what I want you to know. You can step up and be that person. There's always going to be a bully. Somebody is always going to choose to be mean. But if you see something, you've got to do something. And I know it can be scary to confront a bully or tell someone else, but the least you can do is reach out to the victim. Shoot them a message, send them a text, give them a phone call, sit by them at school, let them know that they're not alone. And for those of you that want to sit back and enjoy the show because you think this is funny or this is entertaining to you, I want you to understand something. There are consequences to bullying. It has a cost. It makes people lose self-esteem. It can make people not want to show up to school. By not doing anything, you're just as guilty as the bully.
In this video, Mike Smith talks about what impact bullying really has on others. Do you bully others? Are you a victim, or do you sit back and watch the bullying? What about online? Do you feel braver online? Do you find bullying as entertainment, or does it bother you? And how does that make you feel? Are you willing to be the one to stand up?
Have a terrific Tuesday, North High.